It's January 4th, 1987. Just outside Baltimore, two trains are heading towards each other on the same track. One is Amtrak's Colonial, a passenger train carrying more than 600 people. The other is a Conrail freight train that has just left a rail yard. What happens next becomes a turning point for transportation and drug testing policy in America. To understand how this could have happened, we need to look inside the cab of the Conrail freight train. At the controls is 33-year-old engineer Ricky Gates. By his side sits brakeman Eddie Cromwell. On this day, the two men are in charge of 3 locomotives leaving a Baltimore rail yard. Gates has years of experience, but also a record of past violations. Now, he is approaching one of the busiest main lines in the country. Along the way, Gates ignores 3 stop signals. His train moves into the same track as the Amtrak's Colonial, which is racing north at more than 100 miles an hour. By the time its engineer spots the freight engines ahead, it's already too late. The Colonial slams into the Conrail locomotives at full speed. 16 people die, and more than 160 are injured. It is the deadliest crash in Amtrak's history at the time, and the cause will stun investigators. Brakeman Cromwell, on the lead Conrail locomotive, suffers a broken leg in the collision. Engineer Gates is uninjured. The front cars on Amtrak's Colonial suffer the greatest damage and are almost completely crushed. Fortunately, those cars are nearly empty, awaiting passengers who would have boarded further north. Had they been fully occupied, the death toll could have exceeded 100. In the days after the crash, investigators search for answers. The signals are tested. All of them are working, and it is determined that the accident would have been avoided had the Conrail crew stopped as required. Congressional hearings soon follow.
But we should insist that Amtrak run these tests on its people to dispel any question as to whether its crews were fit for duty on that fateful day.
Toxicology reports reveal that both Ricky Gates and Eddie Cromwell had marijuana in their systems. What might have been seen as human error now became a story about drugs in the workplace. Lawmakers demand answers from railroad executives and federal regulators. The Federal Railroad Administration issues emergency orders, mandatory drug and alcohol testing for all railroad crews, and just a few years later, the policy expands far beyond railroads. Prosecutors cut a deal with Cromwell in which he agrees to testify against Gates in return for immunity. Gates is released in 1992 after serving 4 years in prison. The system we know today, one designed to keep impaired workers away from safety-critical jobs, begins with a collision outside Baltimore in the winter of 1987.